survived the countdown. Steph, did you see the countdown clock?
I did.
Yeah, because I'm trying to brag about that. We're in a tight operation here.
Very professional.
My little mind is very impressed with, I have a countdown clock. You don't. Okay, so anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Wellness Week, the wellness channel on YouTube now and on Facebook Live. My name is Anthony, along with my colleague and friend Stephanie. We have a new thing we're trying out called Mommy Mondays, and Mommy Mondays is really more than just about mommy, but it's about our families. But moms are usually mother's work is never done. So big shout out to moms out there and dads. But so I said to my friend Steph, we should do something together because we have a good rapport and she's someone I respect and she's intelligent and she's mom. And I was like, hey, I'd like to have you on and let's talk about mommy stuff, family stuff. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, let's talk. The opening salvo will be cell phones. Are we and our children addicted to our cell phones? You hear that all the time. Yeah, they're addicted. So she's like, let's do it. So Steph, welcome to Wellness Week officially. How are you, Steph?
Good. How are you, hon?
Good. So, and again, full disclosure, Steph and I are friends. We know each other. And, but yeah. So she's the realist. So I was like, I got to have her on. And so thanks for coming on, Steph, making some time for this half-hour segment on cell phones. Are we and our kids addicted to cell phones? And then we're going to touch on some other stuff if we have some time. So, and again, we're not experts. We're just having a conversation. And, that's what we want to do. We're not trying to solve problems. It's just about discourse back and forth, having a conversation, and that's what we're going to do. So, real quick too, if I may, I got to give a little plug, Steph. You don't know this, but I'm tell everybody now. My company is going to be doing a Santa food drive in our area here in New Jersey. So I'm going to be letting people know how they can donate to that. Gift cards for grocery stores or Walmart or Target for families that are not as fortunate maybe as we are, and they're struggling because the price of food has risen astronomically. So I'm going to be sending out messages to all my friends on social media and stuff like that to donate. I'm donating too. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Myself and one of my DJs, because that's what I do for a living. As you know, I DJ. We're going to get dressed up in our Santa costumes, and we're going to head over to the Bergen Family Center and in Englewood, New Jersey. And then we're going to make a huge drop of gift cards for these families that are at this point struggling to just provide basic food. So that's happening December 16th, and I will be hitting up my friends and family shamelessly to donate either a $5 minimum or $10 maximum card. And, we'll be taking videos and photos of December 16th, two double Santas coming down to the organization's headquarters and just dropping off those gift cards to these families that have children that are very young, babies to 3-year-olds. So it's going to be awesome. And, I always say, when we give, actually, in many ways, we get back more. We think we're helping them, but they're helping us because that's how we feel value in ourselves. So it's a win-win. They're getting something, we're getting something. And I always tell people, if you're feeling depressed or down, don't make it about you. Help others. It'll be the highest of highs. So anyways, just want to put that little plug in there. So thanks, everybody, in anticipation of you donating. And how you donate is you'll find me. I'm easy to find. And if you live in the area of Jersey we're in, I will personally come and pick up the cards from you. Okay, so cell phones. Steph, back to you in the studio. Are we addicted? Now, I showed my cards to you yesterday, Steph. Yeah. I said, this is what I'm going to say. So I think a lot of people will be kind of like shocked when I say we are not addicted to our cell phones. Nope, we're not. Our kids are not either. So that was my take on this. And I said, why, Steph? Because I said, let's go back to 1980s, 1970s, 1960s, 1950s, however far back you want to go. I don't know. There was television. You have books, you have record players, you have photos, you have puzzles, you have TV, you have movies. Is anyone addicted to any one of those things? So people can look at me and say, oh, look at that jerk. He's looking at his phone all day. Well, I read books on my phone, but nobody would know that. They would just see that and say, oh, he's addicted to his phone. I read books on my phone. If I'm texting somebody, or if I'm looking at a photo, or if I'm watching a movie. So I think there's a misnomer when people say we're addicted to our cell phones. I would make the argument most of what we do on this is not talk. No, it's a device that happens to have phone capabilities, but it's more than just that. So it's all these things put together and correlated. And so I think it gets a bum rap when we crap on our kids and us too. Oh, you're addicted, but I get it, right? We're having dinner. Hey, put the phone down, like that. So what say you, Steph?
I don't think that we're addicted to everything on the phone. I think there are certain aspects of the phone that can be addicting.
Okay.
So on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, the likes, right? The instant gratification of getting that like from the content that you put out. I think that can be addicting. And I think the constant, when you get a message, that ping that you get, you have to respond to that.
Right.
That can be addicting too. So I think I don't think that the phone in and of itself, all of it is addicting, but I think there are aspects that can be.
Right. And especially unlike the 1980s or 70s or 60s or whatever, you don't have your, in 1950, you didn't have your television in your car. Hence why texting and driving or watching something or listening. So yeah, it can be very, very dangerous. And oftentimes, unfortunately, it is, people die texting and driving. So yeah. But, because I was like, am I addicted to my phone? And I was like, I think it gets an unfair rap because, like I said, I'm reading a book or I'm looking at photos or I'm taking videos or photo. I mean, so the phone today is more than just that. It's your wallet. You're paying for stuff on your phone,
Yes.
So it's a weird thing. But to your point, you could be addicted to a particular aspect of the phone or the software. And this is where, it's becomes the villain, Facebook or Instagram. And not to go down this rabbit hole, but I always say it's like fire. Fire can cook a meal or can burn a house down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think also, I'm going to be one of the rare people that say this. I don't think Facebook in and of itself or social media in and of itself is bad. Yeah. I think we humans can make it good or make it bad. Facebook, for the most part, is a positive in my life. Like you just saw, I made the announcement about doing some charity work. Well, Facebook is going to make that a lot easier for me to get the word out. Could I do it without Facebook? Yes, I could. But Facebook, it makes it much easier. It's a useful tool, like fire. I can cook this meal, or I could be addicted to Facebook, and my friends are suffering, my family's suffering. I'm always on Facebook. That's not good. So yeah, it's so like there's multi layers to it, to anything really. But okay, so we solved that problem, Steph. We're not addicted, kind of, sort of, but depends on the software. Now, this is the really big one. You and I were adults. People are adults. You make your decisions. But what about our kids? It's tough because we're also going to get into when to buy your kid their first phone. So I don't know if you would second this, Stephanie, but kids are learning how to budget themselves and budget their time. And kids are learning discipline. They're not just born like, right out of the womb, like, I'm a Marine, I'm super disciplined. Like, you kind of learn this or don't learn it. And so I think it's incumbent upon parents or guardians to, how do we guide our kids in this, And I think a lot of it is kids watch and they see, oh, look, mommy or daddy's always on the phone, subconsciously, but if or mommy and daddy are not, or they're on the phone, maybe they're reading. It's a weird thing. I mean, so what are your thoughts on that? Like our kids and cell phones, and I feel bad for kids because, like I said, they're kids, they need to be taught. But what say you?
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is exactly right. I think with a lot of things, like, we give our kids a car eventually, but we don't give them a car without the tools to drive that car, right? We give them lessons.
Right.
But a lot of times with social media, and it usually starts with an iPad,
yeah,
we kind of hand it off and we don't really give a lot of instruction. There's not a lot of lesson or explaining that goes along with it. And they really have free reign to get into like everything that's available to them on the internet.
Yeah.
When you look at that aspect of it, that's scary. We don't really think about that when we toss that over to them because they're in our home. So we think they're safe. We think we're being safe. We think that they're doing just what we said, play this game, look at this YouTube video. But the reality is they're curious. And then once they start pressing those buttons, they open up a world that we don't even realize exists. And they're far more savvy than we are.
Right.
So
And anybody would be. I mean, if the computer was around in the 1800s, those people back then and as children would have done the same thing. Because that makes me laugh too. You get the older people, which we're older at this point. But oh, when I was a kid, and these kids, and I tell older people who are like older than me or my age, I'm like, dude, if we were 15 right now, come on. Like,
yeah.
I tell people in my family who are 70 and 80 or people I know that are older, it's like, listen, trust me, buddy. I know you're 87 years old, but if you were 17, you'd be doing the same crap. It's just human nature. There's a phone. So that's why I say it's incumbent upon parents and this is the scary thing that you're talking about. It's like, and I told you yesterday, would we drop our kids off at the mall and say, hey, see you later, Johnny, Jane. You're 11. I'm going to drop you off at the mall for 10 hours and I'll pick you up later. We would never do that. No parent would, but we'll give them the phone. C'est la vie, just come downstairs for dinner. And meanwhile, they're upstairs and they're exposed to the whole world, World Wide Web, www. I mean, and we think they're safe, but, and I hate to say it, but you can't say, oh, not my kid. If a kid has a smartphone, 99.99999% of the time, they're probably on sites that, I'm not saying that they're going to be like danger, but they're probably not sites that grandma or you as a parent would want them on. And so I don't blame the kid. I would have done the same thing. I mean, what? It's like when we were kids, there was no internet. So what was there? There was magazines, so if my family or someone took me to Barnes and Nobles as a kid, I'm going to go look at the magazines. Well, it's on the magazine rack, right? You could look at Popular Mechanics, Time Magazine. Oh, look at that. Sports Illustrated. Well, underneath Sports Illustrated is, Maxim. Oh, you go further down and Playboy. Like, you don't think, a kid just out of curiosity is going to be like, so this is the internet times 1 billion. I mean, because sites are just in, yeah, it's tough to be a parent today. This. You're a parent of a tween, and I'm a parent. Most of my friends are parents, and yeah, I feel like it's tough to raise a teenager in 2021 or a tweenager. And I don't blame the kids. And I don't blame the parents either, because no one gives you the handbook, right? And says, this is how you're going to raise this particular child. And especially if you have multiple kids, every kid is different. But anyways, my point is we would never drop a kid off at the mall, but hey, here's a cell phone and,
Yeah.
So segueing though, like, I know you're kind of dealing with this. So like when's a good time to buy a kid a phone? Because it seems like every single time you hear about this, right? Parents will be like, well, I'm giving my kid a phone for safety. Because yeah, every kid is being kidnapped at every corner in every street in America. No, they're not. And don't get me wrong, kidnapping is a thing. It's serious. But you hear parents, it's like, for an emergency. It's like, well, how the hell did we survive the 80s, in the 90s or the 70s and the 60s? And, I mean, like, and I do agree, kids should have a cell phone. But what age? So Steph, what age do you think a kid should have a cell phone, or a flip phone with no smart capability versus a smartphone? Like, what? I know you're kind of in the mix now, and it is, every family is different. There's no right or wrong per se, but what do you think? I mean, when would be a good time? Do you think that and by the way, you do have an education background as an educator too. So you not only are you a mom, which is one of the most important jobs on earth, but in addition, your background is education. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I think a couple of the things that you said is exactly right. So I think for every child, for every family, it's different. So what could be right for a child who's 9 may not be right for every child who's 9, right, or for every child who's 12 or 14 or 15. For me, I think it was when my daughter was spending time walking home from school, spending time with friends, outside of my house. That for me was the time for her to get her cell phone, and that was middle school.
Okay, so your daughter has a cell phone.
So she had a cell phone in middle school, but she was just allowed to talk.
Is it a smartphone or is it a flip phone?
It was a smartphone.
Okay.
But she was not allowed to have any applications on it.
Okay.
And she, when we didn't allow her to use the Wi-Fi, any of that stuff. So that was what we did.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, unpopular I don't also allow her to have any of the popular apps either. So she's
You're
not on.
horrible, parent. You're horrible. She's not gonna get the likes. How's she gonna survive? Go ahead,
I don't let her
Steph,
have.
that is, but that's coming though, right? Come on now. I mean, I don't know when it's coming, but I mean.
Well, so she's in high school.
Yeah.
So by now, most parents have allowed their kids to have TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat,
which I think is
all of those
not.
things.
Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't allowed it yet, and not because my child's not mature enough to handle it, because I think she is.
I agree, she is. Yeah, I know her. Yep, I think she is. But
more because I lose control. And I'm not comfortable with those applications myself.
Yeah, and your daughter is not 25 years old. I mean, she's still a kid.
No.
So, yeah, I mean.
And that's what it is. At some point, I think you have to figure out what's best for you, right? So for me, what's best is, and what I feel is best for her is when she comes home, she can totally put that to the side, and she can use the phone for all of those things that we talked about before. So she can watch TV, she can listen to music, she can, read books, she can FaceTime her friends. They call it Duo now. It's not really FaceTime anymore. So she can do all of those social things on there, but I'm not worried about her getting likes. I'm not worried about her getting negative comments on other applications that I can't really monitor.
Right.
So those are the things that I worry about as a parent, and that's why I don't do it.
Right.
But for parents who are savvy, if you feel that you can have a healthy relationship with the application with your child, then I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, good point. And I think no matter what time in history we're alive, the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, 2021, 3021, there's always a common thread. Parenting is parenting is parenting. That never changes. And so what that means to me is, in just my opinion, hey, Jane, Johnny, come over here. I want to see that phone. But dad, it's not your phone. Mommy and daddy are paying for that phone. You want your own phone? Go get a job. Give me the phone. You should know in my opinion, parents should know the code. Physically check with your eyes. And if you're not savvy, get savvy and see, hey, I noticed you're going on here. Now I'm sure there's apps and software that you can do this stuff too. Because it is that serious. Again, you wouldn't drop your kid off in a mall for 11 hours by themselves, but you'll give them access to the whole world upstairs and for the whole day. And God knows what and not that they're talking to somebody, because I think sometimes parents think, well, they're not going to talk to some evil man. It's not that. It's that they're looking at content that might be wrong. They might be reading up on anything, chemistry or mathematics, and getting the wrong information. So, and they're going to wind up failing a test or not getting something right about nutrition. They said to take this powder, dude. It's like, well, I don't blame the kid. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, the parent should be able to say, you know what, let's check this, or, hey, I noticed you were on these your history, is we don't want you on this, and so but I don't, in my opinion, again, I think it's an easy out to say, well, we're busy, we don't have time for that. Hey, this is your kid's life, this is your life. This is something worth taking a tertiary, just quick check once a week or once every other day, because again, you wouldn't drop them off in the mall, or when you physically drop them off somewhere, where they're dropping the kid off at, the parents or the house or what's going on. So I think the cell phone to young people can be very, very detrimental. And again, not in a life and death way per se, although that could happen, but more often than not, it's just, hey, they're getting the wrong information about nutrition, about sex, about social studies, history lessons. Like, that didn't happen in history. What are you talking about? Well, this website said no, So I just, a lot of stuff that never changes no matter what time we raise our kids. It could be the 1970s or today. The same thing applies, being involved and as much as we can. But so I'm glad that's cool that you're doing that you're giving her a little bit of, I would call it breathing room, that she's able to just be a kid for a little longer and not get, because, once you're on the social media, it's the likes, it's, oh, you hear she said this, this video, that video. And even for adults, it's like, I find myself like, damn, I've been on Instagram a little too long today. Looking at stupid dog videos, whatever. I got to get back to work, but these are things. I'm an adult. I grew up like you before social media. So I understand maybe discipline without it, but even myself, it's hard, to be like, sometimes, oh man, I got to get off, I got to mow the lawn or something. What I wanted to say too was the, social media, with kids too, the effect of, when you and I had a bad day in the 1980s from high school, we go home and it's behind us, till
That's right.
the next day. I feel so bad for kids and teens and young adults in college because this is following them. They had a bad day in class. It's coming to follow you. It's coming home with you. There's no break. So I don't know what to tell parents. I mean, I'm a former educator myself. I taught for 11 years. I mean, I would say, hey, when you come home, maybe the phone gets on the shelf or something. Like you need you need some space to breathe, just like, yeah. And I feel bad because now we're going to go into, I don't want to go into this rabbit hole, but the bullying or the,
right.
Just, or, the person, like you said, did they like this? Did they like this? It's like now when we were kids, we get to go home and have a respite for a little while. It's not like that anymore. It's like the phone is following you. The upside is, though, I mean, you can do reports easy. You can find information out easier versus going to the library and the Dewey Decimal System, But again, it's a fire. It can cook a meal or burn the house down.
Yeah.
And the parenting is really important now more than ever, especially when it comes to the phone. But was there anything that you wanted to add to it before because I know we're kind of coming short on time here. I wanted to touch a little bit on the holidays, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just, like you said before, I mean, it can be a great tool. So even those applications that I mentioned before, if you have kids who are involved in the arts like my child is, or anything that they're trying to showcase, these are great ways for them to show their work, build their profiles, do things like that. So there's a lot of positives to those websites.
Right.
But it's a fine line and it's a double-edged sword, and you just have to figure out where your balance is and what you're comfortable with. And that's an individual choice, I think, for every parent to make. So
yeah, 100%.
tough.
Yep. Yeah. I don't, like I said, I don't envy being a parent to young kids today, because and who knows what the future is. But again, I think it's also relative, right? Maybe our grandparents said to our parents, "Oh, you kids in the 60s watching that television thingy. I don't know. That's got to be a tough, it's in some ways it's all relative kind of. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so before we wrap up, and again, you're tuning into Wellness Week, where we do interviews with everyday people and professionals every week. And we're going to start a new thing called Mommy Mondays, where we talk to moms and we talk about our family as it pertains to wellness. And we're talking about cell phone use and how that correlates to our wellness, our mental wellness, our mind wellness, as I like to say. And so that's what we're talking about. And we're going to be wrapping it up with the holidays are here. Christmas is coming. And, you're hearing stories about, the stores won't have toys this year, or they'll have less toys because of the backup in shipping from overseas, particularly, China to the West Coast, and how a lot of the, producers of TVs and toys and stuff, and it's getting backed up, there's a trucking shortage and all that stuff. So when I first heard that, I was like, oh man, holidays gonna suck, dude. But then I was like, you know what? This might be a good time. Actually, it might be one of the best Christmases because, hey, maybe it'll force us to really kind of concentrate on what's most important. Oh, I'm only gonna get 7 toys and not 24 toys. It's like, so what, and I think it's a good thing. I think this might be one of the best Christmases ever for me, and maybe for others, is that what really matters. No one's saying don't give gifts out, but okay, you're not going to get the latest thing. I think, it's a lesson to be learned. And hey, what's Christmas about? I always say it's Jesus's birthday, not yours, dude. But, again, I get it. It's a season of giving, but does giving have to be toys, more toys, gift? Hey, I bought you $25,000 thing. You did that. Okay. I don't know that Christmas was ever meant to be that stuff. And if you do that, that's fine. But again, I think there's a hidden gift in the stores not having as much stuff this year because of the backup in shipping. And I think it's a blessing in disguise. It's like, wow, what is it really about? So I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
I mean, listen, if I could have back all of the money for all of the stuff that we bought over the years that never got played with, I'd put an addition on my house for sure.
And nobody's saying don't buy our kids stuff. But the thing is, right, like, okay, they're only going to get three toys this Christmas, not 13. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think there's something magical about the ideas of, Christmas and giving and waking up on Christmas morning and
Yeah.
opening up the stuff that you love, right? I mean, that's part of it, and that's part of, the fun of being a kid.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, do we need 47 gifts under the tree?
Well, whatever. Do we need 10 gifts under
Yeah.
the do we need 5 gifts under the tree? I mean, again, it's just like everything else, we're so brainwashed, really, and yours included, that it's just about things and things and more things and things and things. It's just like what is going on? So kind of it's a blessing in disguise, kind of like making us take a note, maybe, hey, what's it really about? On my deathbed, there's no human on earth that's going to be like, I wish I had an extra gift or toy. 17 years ago, I didn't get that thingamajiggy. I'm doing, you're going to say on your deathbed, hey, I wish I had more time with my family, my friends. And I get it. Kids don't understand, but that's where parenting comes in. Well, you make them understand. Hey, look, we love you. We were only able to get 2 toys, not 4, or we only got 1, not 2, whatever. You're only getting 5 gifts, not 10, like last year, whatever it is, so they're going to appreciate it. Trust me, I know.
And I think too, a lot of times we put emphasis right on especially one particular item.
Right.
Like the big gift, right? The big expensive, frontlining gift. And if we can't get that item, we feel like, oh my God, we let our kids down. We disappointed them. It's going to be a horrible Christmas. I think the litmus is going to be afterwards. Right. How important is that item now? Like once the big day is over.
In like 2 days, your kids are going to be like, what Christmas? They're not even going to know. Listen, Steph, I don't know about you, but I always like to say I grew up American poor. Yes, I didn't grow up in the slums of Calcutta, but I grew up pretty much not how. I mean, if anybody's been to my house in Jersey when I grew up, trust me, you could tell like, wow, these people don't got money. So it was tough, and there were Christmases I remember like as a kid. It was a little hard because I was like whatever, 8 or 9. I'm like, oh, Christmas, I go downstairs. I'm like, unwrapping the gift, and I'm like, seriously, I remember one year I got like some generic G.I. Joe doll. I wanted a particular G.I. Joe doll, and Santa gave me Santa didn't have, I guess, the resources that year. Gave me like, instead of G.I. Joe, it was like T.I. Joe. It was like some just like ghetto grocery store version, cheap generic. Like I had one leg, and I was just like, oh no. I wasn't crying, but I was just like, but it taught me something. It taught me about disappointment, and it taught me how to, hey, what's important? We're going to go see grandma later. And kids are resilient. Kids are smart, they'll get it. It's fine, and I didn't become an axe murderer, so, I mean, but I get it. I remember feeling so bummed out, like, dude, what, and even some Christmases as an adult too. There were, I'm a business owner, so some years are better than others. It's like, this year I'm not going to, I told people, look, hey, this year everyone's getting gifts under $50 or whatever it is,
right.
Sucks. I want to also, I get it. I want to give the $1 million gift. Here's the Ferrari in the driveway, honey. What I want to do that too. I'm not saying I'm void of that, but I think we're missing the true gift. And that is, again, family. We're together, and we're relatively healthy. You have your friends, and not to sound mushy or cliche, but it is so true. And so, I learned that early on, getting that shitty, I'm sorry, this is a family show. So we don't remember the old show we had, right. We had, so anyways, we don't curse here, people. Okay. But I remember just getting those gifts, or just like, oh man, but kids are tough. They roll with it. And I rolled with it after a day or a couple of hours. I was like, fine, and it is what it is, but but I think it's going to be a great Christmas for everybody, because we're going to make it great, and we're going to concentrate on what we do have: family. We have a roof over our head. We live in a country that is a relatively safe country. I have friends of mine that came from war-torn countries, and that's not some theory. I can bring these people on this show if I wanted to. I mean, so like, wow, I mean, we have so much, to be grateful for. And even more than our health, I would say, if you have family, if you have friends, if you have some kind of community, I would make the argument that's more valuable of a gift than even health itself. Because, what good is your health if you have no one? That's
true.
it really is true. And it's up to us parents to guide our kids to know that stuff, and they don't know, and they're going to whine and complain. That's what kids do. We did that too as kids. I tell people, I was a kid once. Let's not forget that. So, and you were too, and you, the viewer, I'm talking to you. Don't be a strunz. Okay. Anyways, so Steph, any parting words before we leave? Because it's 2:30. I respect your time. I know you're a busy mom.
I do have to pick up soon.
Okay, so yeah, there's no parting words. No parting words. You're good.
No, I just think whatever you're gonna do for Christmas this holiday, do it with love. Do it with kindness. I remember when I was younger too, Anthony. We grew up American poor also.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, listen, people always say, it's just, anyways, go ahead. Yeah, you grew American poor, yes.
But my sister and I, when we would buy each other gifts, we would buy each other, like, I don't know, stupid stuff, a box of Tic Tacs,
right.
A Picnic box, things like that.
Yeah.
We would wrap each individual sock with so much tape. It took forever to unwrap it.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun, and we remembered it. Things like that, you can always make that experience last a little longer and make it a little bit better.
Yeah, right. Enjoy the ride.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure. So, but Steph, I want to thank you for joining me today on Mommy Mondays and the Wellness Week channel here on YouTube, Facebook Live, and all that stuff. So tune in tomorrow. We have a dietitian coming on, a registered licensed dietitian. And on Wednesday, we have our resident guest, Magnus, PhD biochem. And then we have other guests coming on other weeks. And if I can talk to Stephanie's people, she'll talk to my people. Maybe we'll get her on next week for Mommy Mondays. She's got her people now. So she's got her agent I got to talk to. But anyways, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And don't forget, share this. Hit the like button. I'm that guy now. Hit the like button. So, I always hated that guy. Now I'm that guy. And subscribe. Hit the like button. So do that, please, because I'm an insecure person. I need likes. So anyways, thanks, everybody. Have a good week coming up, and stay safe. See you guys soon. Thank you, Steph.
Thanks, Anthony.
Bye-bye, guys.